These are Husky Stories.
A major key going from a good coach to a great coach is the relationships you build with your student athletes. And if you're lucky, when the time comes to pass the torch, those relationships will lead you to the perfect replacement. Stu Marvin had been the Bloomsburg swim coach for 15 years. It was the relationships and the love of Bloomsburg that brought him back to be the head coach.
I graduated in 1978, and I was sitting in the Haas Center, Convocation Center for the senior awards, senior class awards, which were GPA and your like summa cum laude and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I wasn't there for that. But they were giving out the major athletic awards, and I had won the Robert Redmond Award, which was the award for the most outstanding senior male athlete of the year. And prior to the ceremony, I was just kind of sitting there going over my career and how it was all ending. And I turned around and I looked at the clock at the back of the auditorium, and I said, I wonder where I will be in the year 2000. And I kind of thought to myself, wouldn't it be awesome if I could come back here and give back to the swim team and coach the team that I swam for. And then I kind of, my life went on, and it actually happened in 2008, so I missed it by 8 years. But I always think about that, and it was one of those moments of clarity that I thought it would be awesome if I would be given an opportunity, and I got the opportunity. So I wrote this email to her, and this very heartfelt email, how it would be wonderful to come back. And it was heartfelt, how I want to come back and give back to the university, because they did so much for me. They sent me all around the country. I was fortunate enough to make 4 NCAA championships. So the first one was in California, and the second one was in Cleveland, Ohio, and then the third one was in Springfield, Illinois, and then Springfield, Massachusetts, and the fourth one was in Youngstown, Ohio. Plus, I made the Eastern Collegiate Championships at Dartmouth and West Point. So I'm like, the university did so much for me, and I'm at a point where I'm ready to just give it back. So I wrote this email, and I sat on it for several days because I just, I didn't know what to happen. So I just kind of did one of these things, and sent it. And she responded right away. And she said something to the effect of being able to champion you as the next swim coach at Bloomsburg University would be the highlight of my career as athletic director. And I was just stunned. I couldn't believe it. This is going to happen, and it did.
Marvin reflects on his coaching journey and why giving back was so important.
The last 15 years have just been so much fun, and it just all comes from the heart and everything, and I just try to take everything I learned and everything I experienced through my whole life and just give it back. And it's been great. But the time has come, I'm 67 years old, and it's time to step aside, and being able to step aside and pass the torch on to 2 swimmers who swam for me is just icing on the cake.
And he's reached the end of his coaching career. His assistant and former athlete, Bridget Hilferty, was the perfect choice to take over. Hilferty has been on the staff since she graduated in 2013.
To get the job from Stu was probably one of the better things that I've ever had happen to me. Stu has obviously been, he was a major important person in my life. I did struggle a little bit when I got to Bloom. Like him, I actually fell ineligible after my freshman year because I had too much fun. So he kind of helped me grow in that sense of putting life into perspective and making sure that I got my grades up and I could swim and doing all that kind of stuff. So when he asked me to stay, he's like, do you want to stay? And I was like, yeah, sure. And that was kind of that. And then we've created this great relationship, teamwork, and he's been the best person in my life.
It wasn't a challenge. So Bridget, she was a kind of a 5th year athlete. So she stuck around her 5th year to help me. So there was a little bit of a transition going on there anyway, you know what I mean? And it was just a natural progression. I think it would probably be harder for her, being that she was a student athlete and very close to the team, for her to then be in a position of authority. It was not an issue for me.
And I think maybe that first year it was really difficult to talk to people. It was hard when my alumni friends would come up and they'd be like, hey, we're going to the swim house. I'd be like, I can't do that now. So I think that the hardest part was maybe not having the normal alumni experience like right after college maybe per se, and then just kind of going through it and just kind of like growing up like right away.
Hilferty looks forward to the next chapter in Bloomsburg swimming.
I'm excited to make the program my own. Stu has been obviously a great mentor. He's done everything. So it's gonna be interesting, and I think I'm really gonna challenge myself, which I'm kind of excited to do. I think as an assistant, I haven't, not maybe per se challenged myself in the past like 10 years, but I was very comfortable in my position. So I think now, like being in the position of being head, it's gonna be a challenge, and I think there's gonna be a lot of challenging parts, but I also think there's gonna be a lot of great parts about that. And to be in Bloomsburg, it couldn't be a better opportunity for me.
Stu, like most coaches, cherishes in the success of his alumni.
It's a wonderful feeling. You know, it's like just having some of your family move on and be successful. And we were just all together. And, you know, we did this together, we're going to move on together. So it's just being one kind of expanding family. And to watch people, we've had several move into the swimming profession, you know, but to have two of them, you know, migrate back here has been just awesome.
And joining the new staff is another Bloomsburg swimming alumni, class of 2017's Eric Usbeck.
And then having the opportunity to swim here for Stu and Bridget, have the time that I had, it was a wonderful experience. It's always been on my mind the past 6 years that I've been away. So having the opportunity to come back here, words can't really express what it means to be back here, to be on this pool deck every day.
Hilferty reflects on the advice given and the importance of Stu Marvin in her life and coaching career.
He just keeps telling me to follow my heart. He always tells me I have a good heart, so to follow my heart and be confident. So those are like the things that I'm gonna have to do. Sorry. Everybody has seen me cry over this for the past. He's just been the best person, so it's gonna be hard, but I'm excited for him. And like without his support, I wouldn't be sitting here. So he's really like set me up for that. But I really think that the biggest thing that he has taught me is just to be confident and to just trust myself, because that's something that maybe I have like lacked in the past. So like him telling me that like constantly has been, I think, the best part. So I have his notes over here that keep saying, be confident, trust yourself, and I think that's probably it. And of course, have fun. He always tells me to have fun, so not that I have a problem with that, but.
She still has the letter Stu wrote her during her second year proudly on the wall.
Bridget, I am so proud of you. What a tremendous job you have done all year. Training through the fall when you couldn't compete, pulling through so beautifully in the classroom, and coming back so strong in your first meet. You are going to kick some serious butt this weekend. You go, girl.
Stu Marvin undoubtedly leaves a strong legacy at Bloomsburg. But in his mind, it was never about that.
I really don't care about that, you know what I mean? I don't care what legacy I left. I lived it, and it's time for another chapter in Bloomsburg history. I mean, the men have been a team since 1959, and the women 1974-ish. So I don't really think about a legacy that I left. It's more of a very sense of accomplishment, and I think, you know, I was a Boy Scout back in the day, and it was drilled into your head if you went into a campsite and you left it better than you found it. And that's what I kind of wanted to do here. I just, you know, not that the program was in bad shape, but I just wanted to make sure when I left, we're better than we were, and that's all I need. That's all I wanted to do is give back and be done with it. So legacy doesn't really matter much to me. You know, it was the experience, the ride, you know, the joy of ups and downs, and you know, we had never won a freestyle relay at the conference championship since I was on a relay in 1974, and when they won it in 2016, it was just like you know, it was like, oh my God, this has happened. You know, it was just so thrilling. You know, on the guy's side. So, and the women have been traditionally very powerful. Mary Gardner built a team, and then she handed it to Dave, and Dave continued that. So the women have been always very successful. The men have been a little on an up and down road, and to be able to leave it on an upswing has been just, you know, I'm satisfied, and it's just time to move on. You know, my work is done.